Alright, so today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm just going to be doing some quick mods to my Jazzmaster here. I haven't experienced any dying issues with it. These are just a couple of quality of life mods that should make playing on it a lot more satisfying. So there's three things that we're going to be doing today. You can probably see the first one on the table. This is just a pickguard to give it a little more of a classy look than this pretty ugly tortoiseshell pickguard on that. Another one, we're just going to put on this, it's a generic Fender Mustang bridge to replace this one because this one is rattly and unstable. It's not the worst bridge I've ever played on, but it is not great. So we're going to switch it out for this one, which doesn't have the post screws, and it has the modern 9.25 radius and some deeper grooves, so hopefully this will be a lot better. And the last thing, which is probably the most intrusive thing we're going to be doing, is we're going to be making a Faraday cage inside with some copper tape. Faraday cage basically is going to shield all of the inner cavities and ground it. So hopefully this will reduce some of the noise that is common in these Jazzmasters just because there's so much wiring on the inside. So as you've noticed, I've already removed all the strings of the guitar, and I've also removed all the screws on the pickguard and on the pickups. So we're actually going to remove the pickup covers just to get this out of the way. And I can actually remove the bridge. The bridge should be very easy because if I did not mess up in my research, it should just be a drop-in replacement. Yeah, I think everything should be good there. So let's take off the pickguard. I'm not super experienced with guitars, insides, and wiring, but this really messy wiring with zip ties and stuff, the incomplete shielding on the back of the pickguard, and the pretty messy woodwork with the very lazy shielding paint application, and these just strange pieces of foam to hold up the pickups. That seems to check out for an MIM Fender, but still it definitely leaves something to be desired, so I might be cleaning up this wiring a little bit. Actually, when I initially took it apart, these wires that you see here that connect the rhythm circuit with the rest were actually under the neck pickup, kind of passing through this little slot here, which that itself might have been causing a good amount of the noise. So I think the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're just going to remove all of the hardware from the back of the pickguard and kind of move it aside, and then we will start by shielding the inside of the guitar. Okay, so I have changed my mind. The first thing that I'm going to do before I shield it is I'm going to sand it down because the inside of this body cavity is positively horrible. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the electronics inside a plastic bag because I don't want them getting all dusty while I sand down the body. So I'm going to take this thing out to the garage and sand it down, and I'll be back when I'm finished sanding. Alright, so we are back from sanding the inside. I actually had to get a butter knife and scrape out some things because there was I don't know if it's wood glue, but there's something caked into the corners, and also there was globs of the shielding paint that were caked into some places, so it really was not great at all. But the inside is a lot smoother now, so it should be much easier to apply the tape, and it just looks a lot better. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start shielding this baby down. Let's get that going. Alright, so I have finished shielding the inside cavity of the Jazzmaster. It's my first shielding job, and it's a little rough in some places, but it's pretty continuous, and there aren't any obstructing pieces that would like touch the components in any way. And I tried to have a good amount of contact points with the underside of the pickguard so that any discontinuities that there will probably be bridged with the pickguard. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to shield the pickguard. Here's our new pickguard. There's a tiny bit of shielding on the back, but there's basically nothing. So we're just going to go over the whole thing and shield it up. And then we'll be ready to put the components back on, and then we can start to reassemble this thing. Alright, so here's our setup for doing the pickguard. You notice I have a cutting board here because I'm probably going to be using the X-Acto knife to make some cuts. And yeah, we're just gonna hop right into it. Okay, so I finished shielding the back side of the pickguard. That's all good, so I'm gonna grab the guitar and then we can start installing stuff. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do, I think, is we're going to put everything back on the pickguard, and then we'll get started on that, I guess. Okay, so we've got a couple of the screws in, and things are looking pretty good, but before I screw everything in, I'm gonna plug it in just to make sure it works. It's a little haphazard, because all I have over here is a bass amp. So, even before any of the pots are on, let's turn everything down, and let's fire up the amp. I might actually bring a guitar really close to the strings. Here we go, volume. Alright, so here's my piccolo bass. Let's test the rhythm circuit first. I'm just going to play the strings, and I'm going to hold it really close to the pickup, so maybe it'll pick up something. Nice. We got signal. So, alright, let's do that for the lead circuit now. Alright, we got signal. Good. Yeah, we're going to finish screwing stuff in, and then we'll throw some new strings on it and see how she plays. Alright, so pickguard is on. So this is just a generic Mustang bridge. Hopefully it'll plop right on. No, it doesn't plop right on. Okay, there we go. Alright, I think so. These little bridge support bits were actually bent out like that a little bit, so I just kind of squeezed on it. And yeah, it goes right in. Jesus, I almost had a heart attack up there. Okay. Okay. Alright. Alright. This is looking good. We're almost done. Let's just grab where's the pots? Let's put the pots on. Alright, and there we go. Time to throw some strings on it, and then we'll see how it plays. Alright, so we've got our strings on, so let's just tune them up and give her a whirl. Alright, so just some final things that I noticed in terms of the big reason that I went to do these mods, which was the noise level. Obviously, as you probably heard, there's still some background noise, but that's probably coming more from the amp than the guitar. Because, you know, in every guitar, when you touch the strings or something metal and the hum goes away, well, that actually doesn't happen here. When you touch the strings or anything, nothing goes away. So that tells me that all of the hum, it's not an issue from the guitar's ground anymore, which is really nice. This amp definitely has some grounding issues, so that's probably next on my to-do list. The new bridge plays really nicely. I like the wider string spacing than the old one. I can't comment on the stability yet because this is my first day playing on it, but hopefully the stability over time will be a lot better than the other one as well. I mean, obviously, you know, it's still got its Jazzmaster character from before. So that's still going for it. Overall, pretty happy with these mods, and I think that'll do it for today.